Hello, welcome back to my channel. So, I originally was gonna do a thrift haul because I recently went thrifting with my friend and got like a shit ton of stuff. And I was gonna show you guys that. And then as I was getting ready to make the video, I realized no one's gonna watch it. Like, y'all don't care. So instead I'm gonna humiliate myself. Because if y'all remember, God, this was a long time ago. How long ago was it? I literally don't even know. I made a YouTube video where I read the fan fiction that I wrote in middle school. It was a zombie apocalypse ex Minecraft YouTuber fan fiction. And it was very, very bad. And some of y'all went and like found that story, and so you found my Wattpad account and saw that I have another fan fiction that I wrote, and I think it's about time that I read that one too. This one is probably worse because I didn't write it in middle school. I wrote it in high school. I was writing fan fiction in high school, and I, at 20 years old, still read fan fiction. So I'm a really sad and deeply flawed person. But what's really bad about this fan fiction in particular, I don't remember anything about it. What's bad about it is literally just the concept of it. This fan fiction that I wrote in high school is a The Walking Dead / Gorillas crossover fan fiction. What the fuck was wrong with me? I wrote it when I was in my peak Gorillas phase, and like I'm still like into The Walking Dead. Like I don't really watch it much anymore just because it's a lot now, but I was like super big on it in middle school and like a little bit of high school, and sometimes I still rewatch it. Here we go. Sorry, I found the video. 3 months ago is when I did the fan fiction video. That video is an hour long. This video is not going to be that long because this story, unfortunately, is unfinished. So before we dive into that, though, in my videos, I'm usually holding a stuffed animal. And today's no different. I'm holding this black velvet box. Really nice, sturdy, fancy black velvet box. And you might be wondering, what is in this box that you just hyped up? I'm not going to tell you. Anyway, let's get into the video. I'm kidding. I'm going to tell you. It is a box full of flowers. Of black roses. Look at these shits. They're so cool. They're so pretty. They're real roses from the company Rose Forever New York. So it's this brand that like, they're real roses. And they do this treatment on them to where they smell super good and they last like a really long time. And they come in boxes of either 9, like the one I have here, 16 or 36. And you can get them in either a squared box or like a round one. They're all velvet and they have like a ton of different colored boxes and flowers. I chose the darker ones. These are the black ones. They had like gray ones as well if you want like a different dark one. But they have like a lot of choices. They have like the traditional red, the pink, the yellow, the white. But they also have like blue, purple, gray, black. They have like a lot of shit, okay? And it's actually really cool. And they smell so good. Every time I open it, makes me happy because this box smells so good. And I'm not just telling you all this, okay? I have a fucking deal for you. So if you use my code GraysonsProjects20, you can get $20 off of your purchase for the next 30 days starting like as this video goes up. And in addition to that, they're currently having a 60% off sale on all of their bouquets next to like other sales. So if you use my code, you can also get that 60% off, which means you can save even more. Thank you so much, Rose Forever, for sending me those. They're actually like super cool and I'm very glad that I have them. And let's start reading this awful fan fiction. I'm so excited. I have it here on my phone. Oh yeah, so it's called Psychothes. I don't know why. Actually, I know exactly why I named it that. It's because at the time I had read a Spencer Reid fan fiction that was like one of those like pretentious one-word titles where it's like a long word that like off the top of your head you literally don't know what it means. It was that. I think I literally just looked up like fancy words and I found this word. I don't know what this word means. So it has 5 parts. Let's view this story as a reader, and let's get fucking started, okay? Things were fine before. Oh yeah, fuck, I'm gonna have to be looking at my phone, so if I'm not looking at you, don't cry about it. Okay. Things were fine before. They weren't amazing, but life was pretty good to me. I was a budding artist. I was in a relationship. I was happy. Was. That was before. This is now. It started in small outbursts around the states. You'd see a news headline about another attack, but a few headlines every now and then didn't cause much commotion. You tend to just ignore it. I did. I already hate how pretentious I'm trying to sound, Jesus Christ. The headlines became more frequent and more severe. The sickness was spreading. Fuck. I looked to the man I once thought was the love of my life for comfort and get an... Hold on, fuck, I have to do it in his accent. Sorry, okay. I looked to the man I once thought was the love of my life for comfort and get an I'm sure it's nothing love in response. I didn't do it in his accent, and I didn't do it because I have to tell you who this is. Y'all are gonna want to kill me when I tell you who this is. Because, as I said, it is Walking Dead X Gorillas. So you might be thinking, oh, this is like a Rick Grimes or a Daryl Dixon. Yes, but no. My plan was to have Daryl and my character, like, fall in love. I don't think I got that far into the story. But it's supposed to be like a drama love triangle with Murdoch Nichols from the Gorillas. And if you don't know who that is, 1, you're lucky. 2, your luck just fucking ran out. This is what that man looks like. So now I'm going to do it in his accent because he's British, and I do a wonderful British accent. I looked to the man I once thought was the love of my life for comfort and get an, I'm sure it's nothing, love, in response. That was about 3 years ago. Since then, I've been on the run. When shit really hit the fan, I waited for him to come for me. I waited for my prince in shining armor to burst through the door of my small studio apartment and carry me away. He didn't. He's probably dead now. At least I tell myself that. But I know that he's out there somewhere. He's too stubborn and tough to be dead. Maybe that's why it hurts when I think about him, because I know that he isn't dead. He just didn't want to come for me. After a week or so of waiting, I gave up. I knew I had to leave my home and everything from my old life behind. Now I carry nothing but a bag with a spare change of clothes, medicine, some stale bread, and a journal. I walk with my knife in hand, silently, through the woods. I needed to find something to eat. Fast. My dull hazel eyes, thank God I didn't say orbs, my dull hazel orbs, scanned the trees and forest floor, looking for something, anything. There it was, almost like me wishing it to appear did just that. A squirrel, fat and ready for the taking. I really tried to write this to sound like very like mature and elegant, and I don't think that it fucking worked. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that weird fucking noise in the background. I noticed it, and I was like, what is that? There shouldn't really be this background noise, because I was using my good mic, and then I realized it's my laptop fan. Y'all are gonna have to deal with it. Sorry. It may not be the most appetizing, but I can't exactly get in my car and go to a Chick-fil-A. I aimed my knife and reached my arm back, preparing to throw it, until the bolt of a crossbow went clean through the neck of the squirrel. I jumped back, instinct already telling me to run, but it was too late. Hey. A man appeared. He was tall, but being I'll finish the sentence and then I'll explain why I laughed. A man appeared. He was tall, but being 5'5" makes everyone tall to me. I wrote myself to be shorter than I am because I was and still am still insecure of my height. I'm 5'11". Miss Ma'am is not 5'5". I wish. He wore a sleeveless vest and a scowl. He bore broad shoulders and a crossbow in his arms. He stared at me with a look of distrust. Understandable. Do I have to talk like him? What the hell are you doing here, woman? That is not what he sounds like. Obviously, I'm talking about Daryl. That's so not what he sounds like. Can I try that again? I didn't say anything. Why didn't I say anything? It had been so long since I had seen someone that wasn't dead, let alone make conversation. I simply stared back at him, my lack of response causing him to raise his bow at me. Hey Daryl, what's going on? A voice from behind me spoke. I turned to see a young Asian man come from the bushes. He looked between the man, which I now knew was Daryl, and me. What the... He was cut off by Daryl. Dunno. Dunno, she ain't talking. We can't risk letting her leave. You think we should take her to the prison? I think if we let her walk, she could come back with a group, guns blazing. They went back and forth about me, as if I wasn't there. A pet peeve of mine, actually. Okay. I guess that's what finally made me speak. No. They both stopped and turned to look at me. What? The Asian said. No, I repeated, fixing the quivering in my voice. I'm not going anywhere with you, and I have no group, and you can keep the squirrel. Thanks for stealing it, by the way. I finished, turning my eyes to Daryl. He only scoffed. Stole it? It ain't have your name on it. And I doubt a tiny thing like you could have lasted this long without a group. I am doing his voice so wrong, and I'm so sorry to Norman Reedus. I'm so sorry. I rolled my eyes. Well, I'm here, aren't I? Alive and kicking. Alone. Look, ma'am, we can't just let you run off, the Asian interjected, seemingly being the nicer of the two. Oh, I don't need you to let me. I'm walking away, and you'll never see me again. I'm not going anywhere with... I was cut off by the butt of Daryl's crossbow hitting the back of my head, knocking me unconscious. And that's the end of chapter 1. How are we feeling, everyone? Are we feeling good, everyone? Moving on to chapter 2. When I woke up, I was in a bed, staring up at a dirty gray cement ceiling. I sat up, head pounding, and looked around at the new, unfamiliar surroundings. I was surrounded by 4 walls, identical to the ceiling. I was in a prison cell. Okay, pause. Can we talk about the fact that prison-era Walking Dead is literally the best era Walking Dead? Have I seen the last, 4 seasons? No. Do I need to know that I'm still right? No. Prison era over everything. Anyway, I heard shuffling footsteps outside the cell door and turned my head. A man in a sheriff's uniform walked in and sat in the chair across from the bed. He had a kind face, contradicting the scowl placed there. Oh my god, am I gonna have to do Rick's voice? Fuck. Sorry about the cuffs. Just a precaution, the man said, looking down at my wrist. It was then I noticed I was handcuffed to the bed. I looked up at the man, waiting for him to speak again. You gonna tell me your name? Oh, that's bad. Sorry, I'll try it again. You gonna tell me your name? That's even worse. Sorry. I hesitated before answering. Piper Eden. Not the pretentious name. That's because I hated my name. Also, I chose the name Piper because back when I was doing art competitions, there was this girl who was I didn't know her personally, but she was friends with one of my friends. And she did the most amazing oil paintings I've ever seen. And her name was Piper, and I literally wanted to be her. So I stole her name, and I made myself her in this fan fiction. Actually, no, I didn't. I just stole her name. Okay, anyway. Well, Piper, my name is Rick Grimes. What are you doing in the woods on your own? Rick asked me. Hunting. At least I was until Daryl and that other guy stopped me, I replied. Rick gave a small nod in response. It was silent again before he spoke. And you're alone because... I shrugged my shoulders. Groups are trouble. At least the ones I've ran into. It's easier alone. How many walkers have you killed? Walkers? Haven't heard that before. I usually just call them. Quite a few, I guess. Not really keeping score, I answered him. How many people have you killed? I paused. I knew nothing about this man besides his name. I couldn't tell him the truth. None. I don't remember who I wrote myself to kill. Okay. His expression changed only at the slightest. Did he know I lied? Why? He asked me. I shrugged my shoulders again. Never needed to. I avoid people. He nodded before tilting his head a bit, staring off in thought. Then he reached into his pocket, pulled out a small key, and unlocked the handcuffs. He stood and walked towards the doorway of the cell before turning back to me. You coming? I stood and followed him out of the cell and into a room that, in all honesty, looked just like a bigger prison cell. There was a few people mucking around the room. When Rick and I entered, they looked up, giving me a side-eye before returning to what they were doing. Rick introduced me to a few of the people, the only names I remembered at the time being Carol, a woman with buzzed hair, its gray color revealing her age. She had a soft look to her, and when she looked at me, she gave a small smile. Maggie, a girl a bit younger than me. She clearly had her guard up around me, being a stranger and all, but she tried to be polite. Beth, Maggie's young. Why am I introducing these characters as if the people reading this don't know who the fuck I'm talking about? Anyway.
Beth, Maggie's younger sister. Despite being in the end of the world, this girl was a ray of sunshine. She was nothing but nice to me. Herschel, Beth and Maggie's father, an elderly man with a beard the same shade of white as his hair, and a set of crutches. Okay, supporting him due to his lack of foot. He was a bit short in conversation, but still showed compassion. And Glenn. I recognized Glenn from our first encounter,
and was happy I had a name for his face so I wouldn't have to keep referring to him as the Asian. I don't know if that's insensitive. If it is, I am so sorry. After that, Rick led me out of the building, and I learned that using the term prison cell was pretty fitting. Literally, it was a prison. I have to hand it to Rick and his group. Taking a whole prison on, impressive, and incredibly smart. They weren't like other groups I've run into. They wanted to establish themselves, while others keep moving. They don't just try to survive. They thrive. Out in the fields of the prison, they had gardens, and even a bit of livestock. I turned to look at Rick. Why are you showing me all of this? And what was with the questions back inside? I asked him.
Well, you seem to be no trouble. If we were to turn you away, it'd be just like handing you to the Reaper. We've got food and supplies to go around, and I believe you can pull your weight. You don't have to, but if you'd like to stay, you're welcome to.
I don't know what it was about that place. Though Rick and very few others showed me kindness, the people there had looked at me like a bank owner looks at a thief. The rooms, very small and dingy, and good luck trying to get some privacy. Yet there was a charm about the prison, the people, the atmosphere. It was like its own apocalyptic culture. And besides, where would I go if I said no? Back out to sleeping on the forest floor, or, if I'm lucky, being able to break into an abandoned house for the night, having to scavenge for food, and often go without eating? When it came down to it, the answer to Rick's question was pretty simple. I'd like that, actually. That was the end of chapter 2. Wow, this is kind of moving faster than I thought it would. Kind of sad I didn't finish this story. Because, as cringy and pretentious the writing is, it's a lot less painful than reading the middle school fan fiction was. So that's, something, you know? We're moving on to chapter 3. I'd never in my entire life thought I'd be so thankful for living in a prison. Running water, a bed, food, 4 walls. It was the first sense of security I had since the world went to shit. The atmosphere was peaceful, like the prison was in its own bubble, protected from the outside evils. I was able to breathe. I was able to get away from the thoughts that had been eating away at me. Though it was peaceful, it was busy. There was always something to do, which I was grateful for. It was only at night, when I wasn't on watchtower duty or anything, that I would lay awake for hours. My mind would finally go back to the thoughts and questions left unanswered. Where is he? Probably dead. Why didn't he come back for you? Because he died. You don't really believe that, do you? I sighed. No, this would be a lot easier if I did. Admit it, you know why he never came for you. It's the same reason no one else bothered to come for you, not even your father. I came for you. I'm here, and I always will be. Cool, so the depression from middle school stayed in high school. I say that as if it's a shocker to me. I'm still severely depressed. Eventually, I could block out my thoughts and drift into a dreamless sleep. I woke before anyone else. I stretched before silently slipping on my old Vans and putting my hair in a messy bun. No, I'm kidding. I don't say that. Before silently slipping on my old Vans and walking to the bathroom, quickly brushing my teeth and combing through my long, dark hair. And then I put on my backpack and go downstairs and get sold to One Direction. I stared at myself in the mirror for a moment longer before exiting the bathroom and slipping out of my cell. Oh, and slipping out of the cell block. The morning air was chilly. The morning sky was a deep blue, for the sun had not risen yet. I made my way through the dewy grass towards the nearest watchtower. I liked to go to the top of the watchtowers and just sit, enjoying the peaceful silence and ignoring my own mind. Unfortunately, peace wasn't on the morning's agenda. Daryl was already at the top of the watchtower, probably there from night duty. Usually the night watchers are asleep in the morning, but Daryl was wide awake and unaware of my silent entry. I stood behind him, wondering whether or not I should break the silence. Normally, I'd just nudge the sleeping night guard to wake them and relieve them of duty. I can't exactly kick Daryl Dixon. I stared at his form for a bit longer. Then he turned, as if sensing the eyes on him, and jumped at my sudden appearance. Fuck, I'm gonna have to do his fucking voice again. God damn, I literally can't do it.
Goddamn,
I can't get my voice there.
goddamn woman, I could have put a bolt in your ass. The hell you doing here?
That is so fucking bad. I'm so sorry. Daryl was, to be blunt, an ass. He was stone cold to me since we had met, and I wouldn't put it past him if he were to have shot me. Easy, Trigger Happy. Didn't know you were up here, I said, trying to ease the tension with a comical remark. He scoffed, as if him being here was the most obvious thing in the world, before saying,
There's something you need?
I shrugged. Just wanted to be away. Get some peace and quiet. Guess that won't happen now.
What's that supposed to mean?
I let out an exasperated sigh, annoyed at the encounter I was having so early in the morning. I took a moment to take in the appearance of the man in front of me. Underneath the usual scowl and dirt, there were clear bags under his tired blue eyes. Had he slept at all last night? I discarded my concern. He didn't give a shit about my well-being, so why should I care if he slept or not? He isn't my problem. Nothing, Daryl. I'll just go. I didn't wait for a response as I turned and made my way down the ladder of the watchtower and back inside the cell block, ready to help start breakfast and whatever else I was needed for. Kind of a bummer that, I didn't write that much for this story because we're already on chapter 4 out of 5. Anyway, winter was coming, and fast. We needed to stock up on as much food as possible before all of the animals went into hiding. I was walking to my cell when Rick caught up with me.
Hey, Piper, you busy?
It gets worse every time I try. I'm so sorry. I turned around to face Rick. Not really. What's up? Well, I was wondering
if you could...
I'm gonna stop. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I'm gonna stop. Well, I was wondering if you could go out hunting. He cut his sentence short, and I raised an eyebrow.
With Daryl. Look, I know he isn't the easiest to get along with, but he's...
You don't have to give me the Spanish Inquisition. I'll do it, I answered. I feel like I stole that from something. You don't have to give me the Spanish Inquisition. Is that a quote? I feel like I stole that from something, because honestly, as sad as it sounds, I doubt that I knew what the Spanish Inquisition was. History is not my strong suit. Anyway.
You will?
Yeah, I get it. We need food, and Daryl's a good hunter with a bad attitude. If it's for the good of the group, then I'd be happy to go.
Thank you, Piper. It's appreciated,
Rick replied. He told me where I could find Daryl before going off to do whatever Rick does. He's in his manic stage when he goes to take phone calls that literally didn't happen. Good times. He told me where I could find Daryl before going off to do whatever Rick does. I went up to my cell and grabbed the things I needed, my small yellow backpack, my knives, and my dad's old baseball bat. I reached for the bat and hesitated, my hand hovering over it. I thought about my dad. I missed him. He's dead now. You know that, Pipes. I shook my head, snapping out of my thoughts before grabbing the bat and exiting the cell. Daryl was out skinning a sad-looking squirrel when I came to him. He didn't notice me at first, so I lingered, watching him peel the animal's skin with his knife. It was a few more minutes before he glanced up at me.
Goddamn, you're quiet, woman.
Why was I staring at him for so long? Okay, I remained quiet, not knowing how to reply. A thick silence hung in the air for a few moments, so I spoke. Rick told me to go hunting with you.
Yeah, you ready?
I furrowed my brow and looked at him, covered in sweat and squirrel. Are you? He scoffed.
Been waiting on you all damn day.
I rolled my eyes. Let's go, then. We went to some woods we hadn't been to yet, maybe 15 miles from the prison. Daryl walked in front of me, silently stalking, crossbow in hand. I walked a bit behind, looking around the forest, alert, hands ready to pull out my knives if needed. It was dry and chilly, and I wished I had brought my sweatshirt. We walked as silently as possible, but the dry brown leaves that scattered the ground made that a bit more difficult. I chose to walk over Daryl's footprints, and we continued on like that for quite some time. About half an hour or so, all we had was 3 squirrels. So we came upon a creek and decided to take a short break. Daryl stalked off towards the trees to go to the bathroom, leaving me alone. I stood there, enjoying the cool wind and smell of dirt, when I heard a splash come from the creek. I turned quickly towards the creek, seeing nothing. I glanced over my shoulder to see where Daryl was, only to find he was still in the woods. Maybe it was a fish. I heard the second splash and turned towards the creek again, staring at the flowing water. You could get it. It'd be like spearfishing, but with a knife. You can impress Rick and Daryl. I scoffed at my own thoughts. I don't need to impress either of them. But a big fish could be a good meal, and a way of showing gratitude to Rick for giving me a place to stay. I walked towards the water slowly. It was slightly murky, but I was able to see some things in the water. I saw a dark form in the water and stepped into the water. Fucking take a shot every time I say water. Oh my god, I say it again. The cold water bit my ankle, but I tried to ignore it, stepping close to the figure. The pull of the stream made it hard to see what the form was, and I strained my eyes to see it. The wind died down, causing the creek to slow its current, and I made out what the form was. My eyes widened. It was a walker. Before I could reach my knife, it shot a decaying hand out of the water and grabbed my shirt. I screamed as it pulled me down. I tried to get out of its grip, but my limbs were stiff from being thrown into the icy water. I tried to yell, only to get a mouthful of water. It was in my throat, my lungs. I was drowning. This is it? This is how it ends? Suddenly, 2 hands grabbed me and started pulling me out of the water. The walker had a hold of my foot, and I shook to get out of its grip. It finally let go, taking my shoe with it. I was put down on the ground by the creek, and I coughed, trying to get the water out of my lungs. I lay there, trying to slow my breathing. I watched as Daryl quickly turned back towards the creek and shot the walker with his crossbow. I tilted my head to look at the sky, trying to find something to distract me from the fire in my lungs and pounding in my ears. Suddenly, Daryl was at my face. Suddenly, Daryl was in my face. He lifted me by my shoulders, so I sat upright and said something I couldn't make out. I looked at him, confused. I couldn't hear anything over my own heart. He repeated himself. "Are you bit?" I couldn't put together words. My head was pounding, and in all honesty, I didn't know the answer to his question. Was I bit? I looked at my legs. They seemed fine. I looked back up at him and saw his face full of panic, much to my dismay. "It took my shoe," was the only thing I was able to say before falling back and seeing black. It took my shoe. And that was the end of chapter 4. We're moving on to the last chapter. And I'm going to be honest, I'm sad that this is the last chapter. I want to keep reading shitty fanfiction. And what sucks is that I have another Wattpad account that I have another fanfiction on, and it's a supernatural fanfiction. But I can't fucking remember the password to that one. And the email to that, account is literally not an email that I have. I only made it to create that Wattpad account, and I don't even know what the email is. Which sucks. Anyway, on to the final chapter. I woke up in a cell that wasn't mine. I groaned before lifting my head up and looking around the room. It was dirtier than mine, and if it weren't for the crossbow propped up against the wall across the bed, I'd have no idea where I was. This was Daryl's cell. Daryl. What happened? The last thing I remember was him yelling at me. Not that I cared, but I didn't want him to be even more pissed at me than he already is. I heard someone clear their throat, and I looked up, slightly squinting at the light coming in from the doorway. A shadowed figure stood, leaning against the doorway. I recognized the form as none other than Daryl Dixon. I stared at him for a few seconds longer before asking, "What happened?"
"Walker grabbed you. Lucky I was there to save your dumbass before you were bit."
I stayed silent as I recalled the events. Daryl spoke again.
"The hell were you thinking? You were seconds away from being damn zombie food."
I shrugged my shoulders. I heard a splash and thought it might be a fish. I'm sorry, all right? I don't get why you're so mad. It's not like I'm any of your concern. He stepped into the room, and the shadows that were hiding his face from me faded away, revealing a face full of anger and concern.
"You're selfish, woman,"
was all he said. I furrowed my brow. What the hell does that mean? There are people here that really care about you. I mean, really care about you. I could not have made that more obvious. Jesus Christ. He turned and stalked out of the room before I could get any more answers. I sat on the bed a little longer. It smelled like Daryl. Musk and dirt. I didn't want to admit it to myself, but I felt a sting when he said I was selfish. And what people was he talking about when he said people here cared about me? I mean, I'm sure some of them have gotten used to me being here, and I'd miss them too if anything were to happen to me. Daryl couldn't be talking about himself, could he? And that's the end. That's the end of it. I just cock-blocked us. Okay, I'm literally not even gonna lie. That was not that bad. The writing was definitely like a little over the top, a little pretentious. I was kind of in that phase. But like, fucking, in comparison to the Minecraft zombie one from middle school, that was definitely an improvement. And if y'all liked this, I'm sure I probably have some writings on my Tumblr that I did. They're I would assume that they're Marvel writing. I would have to go and like fucking find them though. If y'all want more fanfiction shit, I got you, okay? So let me know. Oh my god, wait, I just remembered. Sorry, someone wrote me a fanfiction. And it's like me, ex Foxy from FNAF. That's the next one I'll do. Like this video if you want me to read the fanfiction that a fan wrote for me, where it's me, ex Foxy from Five Nights at Freddy's. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, this is an awkward video to join my channel on, but consider subscribing. Why did I stutter? And comment for engagement, or, I don't know, comment some shit if you want. And also get some cool flowers from Rose Forever New York. Bye. That was a little passive aggressive in my bye. Hold on. Bye.